Welcome to a special edition of Merzun Uncensored. SultanVaylon, also known as Joey, is a PRS superstar and, in my opinion, one of the best playmakers to ever grace the game. He's also one of the most famous people inside PRS. He's had the toughest season of his career on and off the pitch, facing Alton scandals and the barrage of criticism from fans, pundits, and even his own players. Everyone else has had their say, now it's his turn, and Joey is most definitely uncensored.
Live from London, Merzun Uncensored.
First of all, let me just ask Joey, why are you doing this interview?
Why am I doing this interview? That's a great question. If I had to be completely honest with myself, I guess the reason would be some place in my heart. I'll always have a place for Roblox soccer, and the future of Roblox soccer, I will always have some care in my heart, and I do want the best for this game because it's made me who I am today.
Yeah, we both know you've played this game a lot, one of the first people to reach 3k hours in PRS, but first I want to ask about your history in MPS. Well, how did you start playing, and when did you?
Oh man, that's a very loaded question. That's a very great question. I guess to go from the very start, I guess I was like 10 years old one day, and I just like everyone else, I would just search up soccer on Roblox, right? And you would find TPS Fun's game over there. I think it was TPS 13 at the time when I actually played the game. And I played TPS 13. I played that game. I played the game a lot, and I eventually found a couple players who actually like passed a lot. And in that game, it was foreign. Everyone is basically new. It's like if you play MPS 4 side right now, it's pretty much what that game was. So everyone was foreign to passing, but I met this pair of people who actually passed to each other, and I kind of got mesmerized by it. I was like shocked.
Could you tell us who these players were, if you can remember?
I don't remember them. They had like new faces and black pants, so it might have been a Rova and a no. I don't know.
Alright, so
But oh sorry, go ahead.
you said you were mesmerized by them. What did they do that made you so inspired of them?
Yeah, so pretty much I was just like 10 years old. I didn't really know how the tools worked, what the meta was, how to actually excel at the game. I just know I loved soccer at that age. I played in real life, and soccer will always, or football, I guess. Football will always have a heart in my. It always have a place in my heart. But yeah, I started from MPS TPS, and after TPS, I moved on to MPS, of course, and that's where I met Eternal Flare 11. And I'll actually tell you a funny story real quick, now that we're at the subject. I'm sure my fans and people who are listening to our conversation would like to know. And pretty much what happened one time is I was playing an MPS pitch one time with Eternal Flare, and he saw my skills, and he thought he pretty much gave me the green light. He was like, "Okay, you're good. Come at 8 p.m." And me, being 10 years old, I didn't know anything about time zones, right? I didn't know this guy was Dutch. I didn't know where he was from, what language he spoke in, what country he lives in. I didn't know any of those things. So he says 10 p.m. and I'm over here waking up early, telling my dad, "Hey, Dad, can you wake me up at 9 a.m. so I can prepare for my Roblox soccer game with the Thunder for 11?" He's like, "Yeah, sure, son." And we basically did that, and I went to the pitch at 10 o'clock, and I went there, and I found myself alone over there. It was a bit sad, to be honest. I was a bit shocked. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And a few years later, I I pretty much found out that there is time zones, and Canada is not the only country, I guess.
I think we're straying away from the actual question here. We're not on about time zones. But we would like to know how you would end up transitioning to PRS from this MPS or TPS, as you would say.
Okay. So the transition from PRS, it started from PFA, which I'm sure you know. I have to give you a little bit of a time story on all of this, and I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this interview will understand what I'm saying, but pretty much people from MPS, MPS went to PFA, and MPS died. There was some like physics thing going on there, and I don't know exactly the details of it, but pretty much the game died, right? And
Yeah.
after MPS died, all of the high tiers went to PFA. And PFA was like the big thing for 2015, 2017. It was like the big thing 2018. It was like what everyone was playing, right? It was pretty much the common thing. Like MPS wasn't a thing anymore, so everyone went to PFA. And after PFA, Roblox had some updates. They kind of broke the physics of the game, and that shifted us, all of us, not even just me, all of the high tier players from PFA. We all went to PRS. So it was all at once. It wasn't just like me coming and someone else coming. It was all of us at once coming to PRS season 4. Because before PRS season 4, I didn't even know what the fuck PRS was. Like this was like a random unknown league to me. Like it almost feels like it should still be an unknown league, but the fact that it's like the greatest Roblox soccer thing right now is pretty amazing to me if I think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I transitioned from PFA to PRS. Not only me, plenty of players. As I'm sure you've seen the UEL finals. I think that was a. If you look at the teams who were playing in it, there were a lot of like old gen MPS legend there. Like there's me, Arova, Cheesy Ponage, Bumpy, Helix Poner. That's a very rare name you'll hear nowadays. But
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of these players, we were all in this PRS league because it was pretty much the next best thing instead of PFA, and that's pretty much how not only me, but how PRS was even popularized. Because if the high tiers weren't in PRS, PRS wouldn't be what PRS is right now.
Yeah. Regarding what you said about Ereva and Cheezard, some people say that you've always been in the shadow of the all-time greats, such as them two. Do you have any insight on how it felt?
Oh, so you're asking me about my history and my competition with Tyler and Cheesy here now.
Yeah.
Um, I've been actually asked me about this once. He's like a super new gen 2019er, and he was even actually curious about my opinion, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, I've always been behind them in terms of the leaderboard. If someone had to say who is the best player right now at any point in time, most times than not, they wouldn't have said my name. And me personally, I think for most cases that is true. But I think there was definitely some cases where I definitely showed that I could carry and outperform those players, Cheesy and Tyler. That if I was in a good team, I think I could outperform them easily. Because
So you're saying that your legacy or perhaps your skill level was actually greater than some of the greats like Ereva and Cheezard.
yeah, during some points, yes, I do believe that.
So yeah. Regarding that though, there's a more personal question here. Do you have any insight on how it felt to be called the fat kid in PRS? Because that's like
Ooh,
a common trash talk that people would use against you.
yeah, dude. So I'm very like public with everything I do, and especially earlier in my younger ages, I was very public. I didn't have any type of control of like what to share, what to not share. I shared everything, right? And I'm kind of glad that I did because it showed me the insecurities I had and what I should work on and what to actually tackle on to improve on myself. Because at the end of the day, every man goes through struggle. Every man goes through. I feel like every man has like the same sort of life path where like they go through a breakup, they go through a depression, all of these things like family dying, and I think this is just like one of those things where like MPS just made me who I am, and I'm grateful for it, you know. And
Yeah.
no matter
Um,
how much people pack me, it's made me who I am today.
do you think the packing was warranted? I mean, some people would argue that you've not been at your best this season than perhaps like last season. So do you think the trash talk was really warranted?
Well, I think the trash talk was more personal based because like a lot of times it was for jokes, but sometimes people just didn't want to accept that like I was really good at the game, and
Wait, so you're saying that they're jealous of who you are right now? You're saying that they're envious of who you became?
well, yeah, at that time, yeah. Like now we're all 18 plus, we don't really give a fuck. But back then, definitely, yeah. A lot of people, there are a lot of high tiers. I think so. Maybe not high tiers. I think of high tiers actually, but yeah, I think people were.
Okay. First of all, about like one of the intriguing topics, we need to ask you about Barcelona Football Club in PRS. What would
Mm,
you say was the main reason for the decline in the team's performances?
mm, um. Oh, you're bringing me back now. So for my Barca team, Freeze originally owned it, and I've always wanted to play with Freeze. He knows this. And I guess the decline where it started was we had a lineup with Max and VMP through in it, and they're pretty high wage players, as you know. And basically, Max decided to go to Liverpool. I believe he's still in that, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's still in Liverpool. He just decided to go there for whatever reason. Perhaps he thought the team was better than mine. It doesn't really matter to me. But after he left, we had to make some decisions, right? We
Yeah.
didn't want to sign a bad GK because me myself personally, I found out the hard way, like what position actually matters the most in PRS. And no matter if it's 67 or sorry 66 77, it's always GK because GK is your last man, and GK can like almost always save everything if they play the best to their ability. So
So
sorry,
what
go
you're
ahead.
trying to say is, based on Barcelona Football Club, the main reason for the decline in the team's performances is the goalkeeper. You're saying it's the goalkeeper's fault.
The decline started when Max left the team, and we had to kick VMP through because of that. And we had to sign Jess and Tommy, and that obviously didn't go well. But after we transitioned Jess to ST and we signed our GK, 27 Kura, which by the way, I hope he's B class next season. I'm not even gonna play it probably next season, but that guy's a fucking goat. But I was pretty confident with that team.
Yeah. We're gonna go on to the next question here. Do you feel any personal responsibility for the departure of key players from Barcelona?
Uh, well, yeah. Obviously, I feel like I could have handled the VMP and Max situation better. I think if I just signed a different GK, like I wanted to sign Wolo, and if I signed Wolo, I think the team would have been okay. But I understand Flu didn't want him at that time, and yeah, after I tried all the modifications and trying out new players in different positions, um, Flu pretty much didn't want to play anymore, which is partly my fault. I wasn't performing as how I should be as an X class, 550K
Yeah.
by the way. Um, but yeah, I wasn't really performing, and he thought there was no hope with the team, so he took one for the boys and just shut down the server. But me and Freeze sit again.
So you're saying that Flu was the main reason that Barcelona ended up losing a lot of their players because
Yeah,
he sort of lost hope for the team.
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, so you're not saying you have a major problem like Fluzor said in the previous interview. Um, but first of all, I would ask you, were there any specific moments or matches where you feel your performance played a significant role in the team's overall performance?
Yeah, so well, I only played a couple game weeks, so there wasn't a lot of game weeks for me to prove myself in. But I do remember one game week. We're versing, I believe, some like noob team. We're tied 1-1 halftime. I was sleeping as always. And I came at halftime and I wasn't even like doing a whole much. I wasn't like scaling the whole team. I wasn't like doing anything fantastic. All I was doing was passing and positioning. And that pretty much made us win the game. I believe 3-1 or 4-1. So yeah, I do think I had a big impact on my team, definitely, of course. But I think there's been a limited amount of chances for me to prove that.
Yeah. So, based on that question, do you think there was any players you regretted signing in that season with Barcelona?
Regret signing? Um, I guess not, because how high tier team works is that you sign the starting team, you figure out your starting team, and then for your subs, you just want to get people who at least have IQ and can press S on their keyboard. So yeah, as far as the starting team went, no, I never had any regrets. I think with the information I had at every point, I did the best I could, and it's a shame that it didn't work out, but it is what it is.
Many people would say that based on the team building of Barcelona Football Club, that it could have been destined for failure. I mean, there was a lot of attackers and a very weak defense, some might say. Do you have any explanation on why you built the team like that?
Yeah, I built a team like that because for the pure fact that I thought it would just be fun playing with three near X class level players. I don't think anyone would argue the fact that these two players, Flu and Freeze, have at least X class mechanics, right? So I think it was just a shot of adrenaline. I think it was really fun playing with them though, and if I could do it again, I would. I'm not sure they would say the same, but I really did like the ups and downs with it, and I really think it could have gone somewhere.
Okay. Now we need to get on to the main question of the day. The Alton scandal, the big scandal that you were involved
Ooh,
in. Can you shed any insight on why you would ever want to do this at the top level you are?
whew, this is a little bit deep, but I have almost 5K hours in just PRS alone, and this is starting from 2018, 2019. So you could at least say I have 10K hours in Roblox Soccer app, minimum. I would say upwards to 15. But anyways, skilling people and just going through the motions of playing the game for so long, it just feels tiring. Like, yes, I can skill you whenever I want, but like that doesn't bring me joy anymore. I've been doing that for 10 years. So I guess I started ulting because I got bored, and I also wanted a new start. I wanted to see because a lot of, especially a lot of new players, they complain about how hard it is to be known as a new player. I completely disagree with that. I think if you're active and you're skillful, you show IQ. I think it's pretty easy to be known. I mean, just look at Cream's DMs. Like, I'm sure he's deleted more than fucking 80% of them, but he has DM'd almost every random nigga that could show any potential. And that's just for a reason. The way to build super teams is you find the good B classes, you pair them up with whatever.
Sorry for the crowd there, guys. We had a technical error with our cameraman. Um, First of all, Jury, I want to say that we apologise for the strong language with the N word being used there. So, continuing with your question, as you know, the Alton, why did you want to do this?
Yeah. So basically, I was just a little bit bored of PRS. I've been playing PRS for at least, or I've been playing PRS for almost 5K hours, but I've been playing Roblox Soccer in general for almost 10,000 hours. I think they started counting hours in 2019 for PRS, maybe later. But yeah, I think it's more upwards of 15K. And yeah, I've skilled everyone I need to skill. I've mixed everyone into the mix. The reason why I even enjoy playing this game is because I like scaling people. Like you can see in my gameplay, like I love the way I play. I love the game, you know? And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. So you just wanted more of PRS, is what you're trying to say?
Uh I wanted more purist in a different perspective because a lot of noobs think that it's hard to get known as like an unknown noob, but I think it's the exact opposite. I think if you're playing scrims semi daily and you're going to like training pitch, blah blah blah, and you try to 1v1 these high tiers, especially, some of them will ignore you, as I know, of course, but
Hmm.
some of them will actually try to 1v1 you. And it's all about trying to find opportunities to prove yourself at the end of the day. And I think there's a lot of chances that people dismiss of wanting to, like, showing your skill in the game. And a lot of high tiers actually think that scrims are a waste of time because it's low level. But I can guarantee you, for managers like Kumiago, when he is awake and when he doesn't have work, he is eyeing scrim pitch. He is ready for the next thing to pop up so he can build his little super roster, which I always love, by the way, Kumiago. DM if you want me to. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, okay. We're gonna get into more controversial topics here. Loose Wavy was one of the alts used in PRS, as you know. Why would you pick Inter Milan? Could it be due? Could it be due to something as known as AJ Pawns, one of your best friends from NPS? Do you think he knew and was responsible for signing this alt?
It definitely had everything to do with AJ Bones because he's the, like, I kind of sound evil saying this, but he's the person I can manipulate the most because he's such a close friend of mine. So I pretty much like gaslighted him into thinking that I was a random training pitch player when we were in a VC, talking about like he was just in a training pitch one time, and we were in VC, and I was like, "Yo, check out this wavy guy," and I basically gaslighted him into signing me on an alt, and I do feel bad about that. I really do. He hasn't talked to me since, and that was a pretty evil thing by me. I will admit that was my mistake, but um, I'm not gonna say I'm sorry because actually I am sorry because it is my best friend AJ, and I don't know why I did that to him, but it is what it is.
Would you consider yourself a villain of this story?
Hell, I'm definitely the Aaron Yeager of this shit, bro. I'm Aaron Yeager of PRS. There's a reason why when I play PRS, you see my pin, it says the face of PRS. That's for a reason, buddy.
Wow, wow, that is a high ego statement from you. But as you know, you have a
Confident, I
lot
like
of
to say it,
fans.
but sure.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say instead of ego, I would like confidence as the word, but sure. Either way, you can't live without an ego. You'll never be a successful man without an ego. So I
All
don't
right.
like the word ego.
Some fans, maybe not many, have expressed disappointment in your actions and feel betrayed by your involvement in the scandal. How do you plan to address their feelings?
Yeah, I'm actually like, because I know that I have a lot of fans. Not to like give me a fucking ego boost, but like every time I join an NPS for a side game, every third server I join when I play the game, there's always someone recognizing me. There's someone who's saying, "Yo, what happened, PRS? Why'd you get banned?" Blah blah blah. And I would just say, I'm sorry the story ended, but all great things come to an end at some point.
I,
No matter if it's time that takes you or something else that takes you, at the end of the day, in anything in life, all great things must come to an end.
are you quoting Ghostinho there, another famous player of PRS, who said, "All
No,
great things must go to an end"?
I am not quoting Ghostino, but I do really like Skies as a person. I think he's on the right track. But no, I am not quoting
Would you consider yourself a great player of PRS?
him. um, I mean, the easy answer is yes, obviously. But I guess to spice it up, like, how high would I put myself on the top 50 list? And I agree, Arova should be the one no matter what. I I guess Artemis should be number two, but I think I should definitely be around the 2 to 4 range. I think the number Pigeon got for me at was heavily biased.
Wow.
Um yeah.
So I would like to say, do you think media have an agenda against you?
It's not like they have a specific agenda against me, but they would definitely prefer GM tiers playing better than me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Do you think you should be ranked above Artemis, even though he's had, I'd argue, better seasons, but he's played for a lot less time? Do you think you've had a better legacy overall, so you should be ranked higher?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just becomes skill versus accolades, right? I think Artemis has a ton of accolades over me. I think he's a very dominant player. Um, if you probably count like the season to win ratio, he's probably like number one, even above Tyler in that ratio. And nothing can really unjustify his success. Even myself, at some point, I thought he was superior to me on the field just because he could put the ball in the net so easily. Obviously, it's not so black and white how it wouldn't be like that. But at the end of the day, I think if we're looking at all-time MPS, then yeah, me.
Um, Towards the first response you said to that question, you said skill over accolades, and you said that Artemis had a lot of accolades. Are you trying to say your skill is perhaps higher than Artemis?
Oh, definitely. And he knows that himself too. Like if there wasn't Purist Angle Bar, I would still definitely be much. I don't even think he would be X class at that point. Not to like bring any disrespect towards him, but it's just how the game works nowadays. Now, where shooting is pretty much the most important thing as an attacker nowadays. When before it would be playmaking, in my opinion.
Okay, okay. I've got some more questions for you. In hindsight, do you think that there were opportunities to handle the Alton scandal differently? If so, what would you have done?
Yeah, so I could have easily actually hit it right. So the way I played on Wavy, and everyone will know this, I had like some type of persona. Like I did have like my old school persona. I acted like a dumbass often, and sometimes I played inferior to what I actually was. But most of the time, I wasn't really trying to hide it at the end of the day. And I think that was pretty known throughout the community once they figured it out. I never tried to really hide it. I almost wanted to get caught. And yeah, if I was to redo it again and I actually wanted to hide it, I could have done it the first time. I could have just played goalkeeper or center back. I could have easily laid low, but I chose not to.
So there's a controversial question here. Um, as you know, after you altered, there's been a lot of people getting exposed for alting through client fetching. How did you get into PRS on an alt? Because as you know, PRS focuses heavily on its security. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, so I've like made a bit of money for myself after I became 18, and I started doing a little bit of gambling. And actually, it was a lot of gambling. I've lost over $3,000. Don't gamble, kids. But no, like I've shared screen while gambling, and Truls was in there many times, and I basically just tried to recommend myself because I know that if I pressure them into accepting, um, eventually someone will say yes, right? So I pretty much pressured Truls into recommending me. I lied to him. I said that Wavy Pwn's is a gambling friend. I met him on a gambling website, and that I want him to accept. I want you to accept him on PRS. And that's pretty much the story went on how Wavy got accepted in PRS.
Okay. Um, some people may say that you linked up with your friends in PRS just to alt. How do you think friends like Fluzo and friends in the Canadian national team felt about this?
First of all, I think that question is not to sound rude, but I think it's dumb because if I linked with my friends and my friends was everything in my mind, why would I out and jeopardize the team? Obviously, I wasn't thinking about them while I was outing. I was thinking about myself and how I could enjoy the game again. And
You
I wanted to,
didn't wait. You didn't even consider your friends when you were risking getting a ban that could have jeopardized their season.
I did consider it, but at the end of the day, I chose just to do it myself. And
So you're saying that you don't care enough about your friends to even consider them as an option to not do this Alton scandal as such.
well, first of all, friends is a big word, right? Because you can be in a team with a certain player for years, and after, I'm sure a lot of people have gone through this. After that friend and you don't play in the same team again, sometimes the connection might be lost, and that's because Pierce is the only thing you have as a common ground. And I know for a fact a lot of high tiers have this type of thing going on for them, and I just basically think that um, they were my teammates. Uh, I did talk to them about some personal stuff and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, they don't think about me like that, and I don't think about them like that.
Okay, so I see how it is. Do you think that after this Alton scandal, you're still trying to get unbanned from PRS? Do you think it'll ever be successful?
Um, I think I don't think I'll ever get like a reduced bail or even a removed bail because let's say if even Jose wanted to do it, not that he does want to do it, he doesn't, but if he wanted to do it, it would just show an example of how people are, of how the league has favorites. Because if I did get unbailed or reduced, then people would say, "Oh, well, why doesn't this person get reduced or unbailed?" Blah blah blah. So I get how there'd be a lot of problems in that stand, and I was thinking about bailing um a couple months ago, but I've had like over $10,000 seized in PayPal, so I don't think that'll be happening anytime soon for at least a year. I don't think it'll ever happen, but yeah.
Okay, now SultanVaylon, I need to ask you, what is next?
What is next? Well, in terms of Roblox, I I I think I am gonna try and start a YouTube channel. So if you guys do want to watch that, Valon XI for the plug. But besides beyond Roblox, I'm just gonna be focusing on myself. I actually have a girlfriend now. Trying to keep it halal, but I do have a girlfriend now, and I hope she's my wife. And yeah, I've just been focusing on my finances and my relationship with my family and friends. Um, I just want to be free in life, and Roblox soccer doesn't really help me with any of these things. So it's not really like a great part of my life anymore.
Okay, we want to make it a bit spicy at the end, so I want to say, um, what is your opinion on the X classes at the moment? What do you think of Tyler?
Oh, that's a great question, man. It's a great question. I feel like this question is trying to like get me to say the obvious, which I obviously will. I'm not a pussy like these other excuses. But no, obviously Tyler himself, he knows that he's not what he used to be. He's not as dominant as he used to be. And he doesn't he doesn't really care about it a whole lot, but it definitely like gets okay. Tyler is watched in the comments, man. GG. But anyways, no, it definitely gets to him a little bit because I know people like Tyler, and I'm sure a lot of high tiers know that like a lot of people, especially high classes, hide their egos. And if you're high tier, you know exactly what I mean by that. So a lot of people hide their true persona, the true personality, the true competitiveness, and they just try to make people perceive them as a chill dude who doesn't really care. But at the end of the day, especially people like me and Tyler, to some degree, at least a little bit, we will always care about our level because we were at the end of the day the innovators of this game. We
Yeah.
cultivated the gameplay and the meta.
Do you think there's any X classes at the moment that don't deserve that X class title? The best in the game?
Um, I'm not even sure who's Xbox right now. I'm gonna be honest, but I guess if I had to say one, I think Arova would be S class next season if he still plays. Mesmerize, someone in the chat said, I think Mesmerize is a very smart player, very consistent player. I think I think he's a tiny bit overhyped, but still very good and still X class. But just I don't think he would be in the top 3 for my list in the current X class.
After your ban, who do you think will take your spot as the next jury in PRS?
Well, that would be impossible unless you want to wait a lifetime. But the next highest rated player, I guess that would most likely be Elsha or Rebel, depending on who wins what.
No, I'm
Um,
talking about S classes or someone who needs to get S. I mean X to fill your spot as the best.
oh, someone who's not X already.
Yeah.
Oh, I would definitely have to say my son Wizrude, if he's watching, shout out to you, bro. But yeah, the Wizento guy, not Wizento, but the Wiz dude who's GMT. I've taught him basically almost everything. Like I just taught him the basic premise of dribbling IQ and how it actually works, and he just made it into his own style. And I think eventually, over time, if he continues to play the game, he will definitely overtake my spot at some point if I stop playing.
Yeah, so Jury, that is the end of the interview. Thank you for coming on this show and exposing what you have been up to and what you have done in PRS. I would just like to say, did you enjoy this interview?
Yes, man, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and DM me and talk about my history in Roblox soccer. Thank you very much for that.
Okay. Thank you guys, the audience, of course, for watching this. You mean a lot to us, and I hope that if you watch till the end, you'll learn a bit more about SultanVaylon, one of the best players to ever grace the field, and stay tuned for the next interview. Thank you, guys.